Don, thanks. Pace car is off. 200 laps around the 2-mile track. The Pure Michigan 400 is underway. Fanning out. Didn't waste any time. Bob Menard, you can see, make a dive to make it 3 wide there. Casey Kane went to the high side. He told me last night his car really was good up on the top part of the racetrack.
It seems like that's where Casey Kane likes to run, and he can carry that momentum and use it to his advantage better than most.
Greg Nichols leads lap 1. Matt Kenseth slides up in front of Denny Hamlin in second. Single file for a minute. Back through about the first 10. Just until they get to those corners. There's David Reagan dropping down to make it 3 wide.
It's such a fun racetrack because you just have so many different lanes that you can choose. See if your car works there. As we see Dale Earnhardt Jr. right on the bottom. Most of the drivers I talk with, though, say that's not the preferred line. You might get away with it down in 3 and 4. First few laps of the run with fresh tires. After that, you're going to have to move up.
Yeah, the problem with running on that bottom side is that by the time you get off the corner, you have to use all the racetrack all the way to the wall, and that's where everybody is. So it does pinch your car down low if you try to run down there, especially when you got all this traffic.
See Tony Stewart all the way at the bottom of the racetrack in that 14 when he crossed the start-finish line. The car jumping. There's that little bump in the track at the very lowest part of this front stretch, created from where they did some renovations to the under-track pedestrian tunnel a couple of years ago. This racetrack to be repaved starting Tuesday. But you'll see the guys that go all the way to the bottom of this front stretch having to hop that little bump there just past the start-finish line.
Yeah, these drivers were telling me it'll give you a jolt inside the car. You have to be ready and prepared for it right there.
Casey Kane in the 4, 9th place, trying to get 8 from Kurt Busch in the 22. A lot of guys had that 39 car on their mind in the garage this morning. Ryan Newman.
Yeah, he's always been really good at this racetrack, and this team is really showing that they've got consistency about them to be a real factor when it comes chase time. They're pretty solidly in there, even though they're just 8th in the point. They have that win that's really going to be beneficial to them.
Dale Jr. right behind.
Yeah, there's 2 drivers here, and everybody's feeling stressed about this race, but there's 2 drivers that have a lot of stress on them. That's Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart. Tony was feeling really bad about the mistake that he made on that last lap at Watkins Glen on Monday. Knew that he gave away about 20 points there, but he's a confident race driver, too.
Yeah, you can see a little stress in the garage area yesterday during practice. They weren't one of the better cars for a lot of that time, and you know, their back's against the wall. They have to get this car right. They have to keep score points, and that's a lot of pressure. I can see Darian Grubb on the pit box before the race started. You can tell he was under a little pressure.
Little 4 wide for a second, slimming out to 2 wide. Jimmy Johnson trying to make some ground along the bottom in the 48. How about Marcos Ambrose in the 9?
Yeah, you know, he's going to need another win to think about getting in the chase, get that second win good. And I think today's his best shot at doing that. You see him trying to make some time on the high side. This is a place that he and his crew chief, Todd Parrott, could really make things happen and get that second victory.
Ambrose with the win at Watkins Glen last Sunday, but still outside the top 20 in the championship. Remember, to take advantage of that wild card, you've got to be within 11th and 20th in points. And because where Brad Keselowski is and the number of other guys in that group that have 1 win, he is going to need a second win to have a shot at getting in the championship.
Kevin Harvick there trying to get by Jimmy Johnson on the high side. Got a nice run. Kevin saw him in practice there today. He worked pretty exclusively on the top side of this racetrack. You can get your car going up there. You won't have a lot of other cars impeding your progress.
Well, there's nobody going to get between him and the wall. I can tell you that. I watched that practice in 3 and 4. It looked like he was just inches off of that wall. That's a little cooler today as this race starts, so I'm not sure you're going to see, you know, every car moving to the top that early. So you see we got plenty of racing room now all over the track.
Watching 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th here. Denny Hamlin 3rd in that 11 car. Brad Keselowski in the 2. Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman right behind. Let's talk more about those track conditions for a second, Andy. You see this part of the track in sun, then a bit of shade. We saw when the race started a couple laps ago, the front stretch was in shade. Now it's in sun. How does it affect the cars and the drivers?
Well, it's going to affect the cars. It affects the grip level quite a bit. And what you have to do is make sure that you're aware of it, especially making your driver aware that if he's saying, hey, I'm tight in 3 and 4, I'm loose in 1 and 2. Okay, well, what's the sun doing? Is it different on one end or the other?
Keselowski take that third spot away from Denny Hamlin, his teammate coming there in the 22, Kurt Busch. So you have to really be impressed with Busch and with Keselowski. The progress they've made this year with these race cars and teams, and I think the crew chiefs and engineers deserve a lot of credit. The drivers obviously doing their part.
Tony Stewart moving up some in the early going, started in the 18th position, fell back a couple of spots in that opening lap shuffle, is now picking his way back up to the 16th spot.
It's kind of cool how they came together and looked like Paul giving him a little bump draft up the back straightaway.
Yeah, Paul gave it. He eased out of the throttle just a little bit to let Tony have that spot and get in line and see what he could do from there. You see Jimmy Johnson staying down on that bottom side. Not sure that's going to be that beneficial. He's trying to make it work down there, but continues to lose a couple more spots. I think his car's really loose right now. Speaking of the 48.
Kevin Harvick talking about moving up. Kevin started in 24th position. He's up to 17th. 10 laps of racing, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I heard a lot of drivers talk about how good he was yesterday in practice.
I'm watching Tony Stewart working underneath him. Tony's car looks pretty good. Looks a little better than it did in practice. Vince?
Yeah, they really were searching with this car throughout the course of the weekend, Andy, trying to find the right spot for Tony Stewart. And as you guys have documented, this is one of those days where he doesn't have any wiggle room sitting 10th in points. They finally believe that they found a spot with the car in qualifying that they would have a good starting point today, but built a lot of adjustability into that 14 this afternoon.
Well, if the track continues to go in and out of sun and cloud and that kind of thing, they may need some of that adjustability as the day goes on. A lot of that adjustability.
So cool to watch these cars. As you can see now, Kevin Harvick going to go to the inside, but the big run, you can see Tony got 5 or 6 car lengths. Watch him dive to the bottom. He'll almost get past Harvick, but with that momentum that Harvick has up there on the top side, keeping the RPMs up, he has so much more straightaway speed on the exit of the corner here.
That for 17th and 18th, while up front, Greg Biffle is ahead of Matt Kenseth by a second and a half. Biffle choosing the outside lane for the start. His prerogative as pole sitter. Used it to jump into the early lead, and he has paced all of the laps so far today here in Michigan.